So recently, ex-fighter turned food critic Keithley did a stint of restaurant reviews in Atlanta. And it ruffled a lot of feathers, but I gotta say, he was very polite even in his criticism. You know what I'm saying? He went about it very professionally, and some people didn't like it, some people did. But, you know, it definitely exploded a lot of businesses, and some businesses it hurt. But he got to be honest. And one person that doesn't like this is Chad Ochocinco. He definitely did not like that. And we're going to get to his words, and we're going to get to Keithley's response to what he had to say. Let's go to Nightcap with Shannon, Sharpe, and Chad Ochocinco for the video.
Bruh. Keithley is a TikTok food critic. He accidentally caused chaos in the Atlanta restaurant scene. In the video, which have been viewed over 95 million times, Lee said multiple restaurants he had a hard time ordering ahead. So he tried to order food in advance. They said, no, we're not doing that. He said experienced poor customer service, or his family initially was turned away only to be offered a table once they realized they were with him. Restaurants have received death threats. Cardi B talked about Lee's food tour videos, IG. I feel like Atlanta restaurants, they don't like to make money, she said, describing how difficult it is for her to order food in the city without having to mention her name.
And if you didn't hear that video, Cardi B definitely agreed with Keithley as far as just the difficulty it is when even just trying to order food in Atlanta. And I wonder why Chad didn't criticize Cardi B for her criticism of Atlanta restaurants as well.
I don't know how often you've been to Atlanta, but the Atlanta food scene, we unique, because a lot of times it's all about dressing up. And it's an hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hour wait time. A lot of times, Ocho, you got to eat a meal before you actually go to the restaurant, because you're going to be hungry damn again before you actually get in the restaurant. So It's perfect. And look, I don't want people to think what's going on is unique to Atlanta and black restaurants. Normally, Ocho, you know this from being a professional athlete. We get privileges sometimes at the restaurant, and sometimes we get to get things that normal people don't get. It happens.
I don't like it.
Ocho, so you've never gotten the table because you were Ochocinco.
I'm not talking about that. Yeah. And when they do, I mean, you know me, you know how I move, and everybody in this chat knows how I move when I go to restaurants. If you seat me first, you understand what's coming at the end when it's time to tip. I've been doing that 20-some years.
Okay, but
I don't like the fact of what he's doing.
Ocho,
I don't like the critiquing of our restaurants and having people and talking bad about our businesses and
Ocho,
you know how hard it is,
and I get it, Ocho,
for us to even get in the food industry and to have our own restaurant. And so,
Ocho,
what are we doing?
Don't ask me to come to your house and then ask me what I think about it without asking me to give you my honest opinion.
Nobody asked for that. Nobody asked for that.
A lot of these people, listen, a lot of these restaurants do DM him, ask him to come. But he wants to go on, a lot of times he wants to go unannounced and give people, that's what he is. He's a food critic. He's turned himself into a food critic. It's okay.
Are we turning himself into resume? What are the qualifications of being a food critic?
Go to a restaurant and do you like the food? Did you like the customer service? What was it like? Yes. What was the wait time like? That's all you got to do.
Look, Chad just can't stand. You can just see it on his face. Why do you have to have credentials to say if you like some food or not?
How about go do that at Maestro's? Go do that at Chris Ruth. Go do it at Poppy Steak. Go do it at Zuma. Go do it at whatever the rest of the 5-star restaurants that everybody. Go do it at that. Name one of the restaurants you go to in LA. Name one. Where you and Selena Gomez went? Where y'all went? What's the name of the restaurant y'all went to?
I don't forgot now.
You know.
I honestly forgot because I have never been there before.
Go do it at their restaurants and give them the bad press and all the bad.
Ocho. Because you're black doesn't mean you're above criticism.
I'm not saying you're above anything, but go do it there. It's hard enough for us as it is. Now here you go.
So in other words, if he got bad service, he's supposed to just let that slide.
Service wasn't bad. Service because it wasn't. It wasn't. I ain't never had bad service.
Hey, come on, Ocho. So we know our people can have great customer service, but also we can know our people for having some of the worst attitudes that we've ever seen. You understand what I'm saying? And people that pay their money don't need to be subjected to that.
And even if the service was bad, they might be having a bad day because some idiots they don't have to deal with.
Ocho, honestly, in the customer service business, you can't have a bad day. Because think about what you just said. Customer service.
Do you know what it's like dealing with some of these people?
You shouldn't get in that business.
Day.
Do not get into the customer service business if you can be easily perturbed by having a bad day.
But sometimes you need a job. And sometimes that job, being customer service and being in the food industry, is all you can do.
Ocho, I know me. I can't be in the customer service business because I'm easily irritated. I don't like no, hey, I ordered this and they mess up the order. Okay, I get that, Ocho, but you have to understand, people are paying their hard-earned money. So I have the right. If I like the service, I'm going to say I like the service.
It's simple. When people pay their hard-earned money on a product, they have the right to say whether they enjoyed it or not. Especially a food critic like Keithley. But you can't be in business and expect that people are only going to give you positive feedback for your product, especially if it isn't up to par. And especially with some of the exorbitant prices that some of y'all are charging in this day and age.
Now, me, I don't go, look, Ocho, you know what? In this business, what I've been in, Ocho, I've been very fortunate. I've met a lot of high-profile people.
Yeah.
And one of the first things people ask me is what he or she is like. And you know what I tell them? I can only tell you through my experience. I don't know what they'll be like to you. I don't know what they're like to him. I don't know what they're like to someone else. I can just tell you what they're like to me. When I go to a restaurant, my experience at that restaurant might be different than yours. It might be different than Jordan's. It might be different than Malika's. But I can just tell you, from my experience, it was unbelievable. Or no, it wasn't very good. The people weren't courteous. The service was lacking. The food was cold. It took me a long time to get seated. It took me a long time for the server to come back and take my order. That's my experience. Right. You might go there and have a totally different experience.
Listen, I hear what you're saying, and I'm gonna agree to disagree.
Okay.
I like to leave my mark on all restaurants I go to, regardless of what it is. I am more about being the positive influence, and when I leave those places and leaving my mark, and I don't want my mark to be that of what Brother Keithley is doing. Listen, I salute him to what he's doing and trying to let the people know about restaurants in Atlanta.
Now, I understand the positivity that Chad is trying to bring, if you know, considering that he's not a food critic. But you got to ask this too. As a regular patron that goes there, if they are lacking in their food, like if their dressing is just overly salty and you never tell them, are you helping them or are you hurting them? I mean, our goal for our restaurant should be longevity. And if they are to have that, they got to be able to improve upon mistakes that they make.
The restaurants that I've been in Atlanta, that I've been to, they've been just fine.
Ocho, but you do realize a lot of times, people have said their restaurant has been saved because he's giving them a positive critique. Huh?
And that's why, you know, you just hate to be wrong. Like, he saved a lot of restaurants giving his reviews. And Chad is just so stuck on this point that he doesn't want to give him his props for doing that.
A lot of the restaurants said they have been able to remain in business because of the positive critique. So now, again, like I said, I don't have a problem tipping. A lot of times when I leave my room, I left money on the table today. I said, ma'am, I was at the table last night and I didn't get an opportunity to throw the stuff in the trash. I said, I left money on the table. It's yours if you clean it up. It might not have been her room, but I bet you went and then got that stuff off that table and threw it away.
I got you.
I'm a service type of guy.
I'm just telling you.
Keep the ginger ale flowing. Right. You keep the ginger ale flowing, your boy gonna break you off real nice.
I'm just telling you how I am. I'm telling you how I am, how I understand what the people in the service industry have to go through. I understand the personalities, the people that they have to deal with time and time again for hours and hours at a time, stand on your feet, ordering, dealing with different personalities.
You chose that job.
Listen to me, and I can empathize with them, even though they chose that job. Maybe that's the only opportunity they have to make money. So I understand that. So I don't go in there. I never send food back. I don't care about the food being goddamn cold. I'm going to make your day at your job as easy as possible when I enter your establishment, as easy as possible, and I'm gonna leave you with a blessing because they no telling what the you had to go through before I got here, and that's just how I move. That's just how I move. I'm not leaving no bad critiques and talking about your place. I'm gonna make sure when I leave there, I'm gonna leave there for blessing, and I'm gone. That's just me. What he's doing, that's cool, that's fine, and more power to him, and more power to those that it's affecting in a positive or negative way. That's just me.
You feeling some type of way about that?
I mean, that's just me. I'm thinking from a business standpoint, how hard it is for people to build. Just that's bullshit, man.
I tell you what, you open a restaurant, I'm bringing roaches and rats with me.
That's fine. That's fine.
I said, man, I'm gonna have my camera lady. Hey, look at this right here. Look at that big old one right there.
I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about how that's really affecting people, restaurants out there, man, in Black Hollywood, man. Cause now that you done, now I'm really allowing it to sink in. Like that's. Matter of fact, you know what? I'm finna follow up. I'm going to be a food critic in Atlanta. I'm going to be a food critic. I'm finna go to I'm going to every restaurant in Atlanta, and I'm leaving a $5,000 tip. And I'm gonna tell them these restaurants was perfect, and the service was phenomenal. Just to overshadow bullshit. Talk about restaurants.
You do realize a food critic, they go all around the United States.
Gordon Ramsay is the only food critic I know.
And so you'll recognize Gordon Ramsay as a food critic, but you won't recognize Keithley as one. But Keithley did a review on Gordon Ramsay's restaurant, and he was very honest, and it was not a good review. Matter of fact, he did not end up getting any food. So it's not like he just does this to black restaurants. He goes to restaurants all over the country.
Ocho, you see?
That's what he does.
Now you're doing what athletes do.
That's what he does.
What's your correct? Hold on.
That's what he does.
Great. But here's the thing, Ocho. You can't say because someone doesn't have a culinary background.
So what makes you a food critic? Oh, because you have a platform? Because you got social media? So now you attach your name to yourself. Now you are.
Everybody is not a Michelin star chef. Everybody is not a 5-star chef. And that's
what qualifies you to be a food critic where everybody in the world has to listen to what you have to say about?
They don't have to. They don't have to. He ain't forced nobody to listen to his TikTok. He ain't forced nobody to listen to what he got to say. He said, go try it for yourself. He said, that's his experience. You might have a totally different experience, Ocho.
You know what? If you have a large platform of that magnitude, you shouldn't be saying nothing bad. You should be praising all the restaurants.
No, you and I gonna disagree with that one. Just because I got a platform, that don't mean I have
restaurants to help their business.
Ocho. My thing is,
I'm telling you how I am.
Yeah.
I have nothing against what he's doing. I'm just telling you.
Yes, you do. You just said it's bullshit. What you mean?
It's bullshit. It's bullshit.
You just said you didn't have anything against it. What he doing? So hold on. Time out.
That's how I feel.
Either I'm losing my mind or I'm done. You just said you didn't have a problem with what he did. Then you turn around and said it's bullshit.
Because I'm looking at the long.
So you got a problem.
I'm looking at the long-term effects of how this.
Do you have a problem with what he did? Yes or no?
Yeah, I don't
okay,
like
thank you. That's all you had to say at the beginning. That's all I wanted to get you to say.
I don't like it. And anybody else, and if anybody in the chat like what's going through with that, like this, let me know. Let me know if you like it. Because if you like it, I mean, I got a problem with y'all too.
So you can see you're not really gonna convince Ocho. He pretty headstrong on this type of thing. But it's like black businesses is not above criticism. And actually, if we want to succeed, you need the criticism to right your wrongs. You dig what I'm saying? And he gives white restaurants the same criticism. Let's look at him talking about Gordon Ramsay's restaurant before we get to his response to all of this.
One may ask themselves, why am I sitting here empty-handed at home with no food, even though I just left Gordon Ramsay's fish and chips? Health reasons, safety reasons. Both of those are true. First, let's speak about the customer service. It was terrible. I called beforehand because they are on the strip. They in the Link Promenade, and anybody that's in Vegas knows the Link Promenade from the parking lot is about a 20-minute walk. 15, give or take, if you're walking fast. I didn't want to make that walk without my food being done, so I tried to call. No answer. I walked in and immediately noticed the kitchen didn't look that clean. It was a bowl, like a metal bowl, full with 20 to 25 pieces of cooked fish that looked freezing cold. It was around open packages. It was around raw fish. It was around other customers' orders that haven't been completed yet. It made me uncomfortable. I have a shellfish allergy, so my red flags went off immediately. I didn't want to get sick. Immediately. I'm a very observant person, so I took that into note, and I went to order my food. I got 3 pieces of fish, some dirty fries that had like bacon and cilantro sauce on them, and a Biscoff shake. It sounded delicious. After I was done ordering, right before I got my total, I asked the lady, can you please make a note to the kitchen that I'm allergic to shellfish? All I wanted her to do was go tell the kitchen, hey, don't touch his fish with that lobster. After you get done touching that shrimp, go wash your hands because he allergic to it. That's all I expected. She said, no, I can't do that. Everything in here is contaminated. Those were her exact words. She said the bowls, they use the exact same bowls for the fish, chicken, lobster, shrimp. They use the exact same oil for the fish, chicken, lobster, shrimp. I'm not no expert, but that sounds gross. I said, okay, so there's no way that you can make an exception and not use the same bowl that you would lobster on my fish? She said, no, everything is contaminated in a very stoic and cold manner.
That sounded like she was being very rude, but they could use a different bowl. But I'm imagining what she's probably saying is that even if they used a different bowl, the fishes, they fry everything in the same oil. So that it would still be no point in switching out the bowl. But the way she went about it is totally terrible. But if she would have went and asked, like he asked her to, you know, somebody in the kitchen could have been like, well, I'll fry his stuff in a separate pot, a small pot. And you could have still accommodated the customer. You understand what I'm saying? An inconvenience, yeah, but it could have been done. But the bottom line, the way Gordon Ramsay be going crazy on people on that TV show, you would expect better from his restaurant. Y'all don't have separate fries for fish and chicken?
I said, okay, what about chicken? She said, no, we're going to toss the chicken in the same bowl that we toss the lobster and the shrimp in. I gladly and kindly turned around and walked my out of that building. If you want to go, be safe, be careful. I don't want nobody getting sick. God bless you.
And so now we can get to Keithley's direct response to Chad Ochocinco about all that he had to say about him critiquing black restaurants.
Like, you know how hard it is
I get it, Ocho.
for us to even get in the food industry and to have our own restaurant. And so,
Ocho.
like, what are we doing?
And listen, it is very hard to get into the food industry, but it also can't depend on its levels to it. You know, depending on what level you're trying to go to, but it also can be very easy to get into. You know what I'm saying? That's why you see a lot of black folk who is like, what kind of business can I get in? Food. It's also a very easy business to get into as well. You have to start on a smaller scale, but you can get into the industry now to get, you know, on the level of having a bigger restaurant, brick and mortar, and all these different things. Yeah, it is hard. It is hard to get everything going and to hit the ground running, you know. But let's get to Keith.
Let's talk about it. First, I want to say God bless you and I respect your opinion. Your opinion is just as valuable as the next person's opinion. But I do agree with you. It is hard to open a restaurant. It is hard to get the funding. It is hard to have people come in. I agree. And I'm blessed enough to be a marketing platform for those restaurants completely free. To me, it seems like you have no idea who I am. And again, that's okay with me. The main point was my qualifications. I'll be honest with you. I've been a professional fighter for almost 10 years. I've traveled the world eating food. I've cut weight from anywhere from 170 pounds to 135 pounds. And food is one of the most important things when it comes to cutting weight. So at the end of the day, I'm just a foodie. I agree with you. I've been blessed enough to be in this position. But then in return, I want to ask you, what are your qualifications to have this firm stance on this topic? Because to me, this seems like your first time ever seeing me. And if it's not, again, I have another question. Why is this your first time speaking on me? We've been blessed enough to raise over $40,000 for a restaurant owner who has cancer. We've been blessed enough to be used as a vessel to retire a teacher in less than 24 hours. We've been blessed enough to be a part of keeping multiple restaurants doors open. And all of this within the span of 10 months. I want to be very clear. That question isn't to say you or anybody else should know who I am. I simply ask, if this isn't your first time seeing me, what stopped you from talking about the positive things we've been able to do? Specifically to the community that you are worried about us negatively affecting.
And if you remember when Shannon brought this up to Chad about the good that he does, it was like pulling teeth to even get him to admit. And
to your point, that's without any form of qualifications. And let's be honest, I think one of the main reasons of why we're here is because I'm relatable. I'm a customer like everybody else. I pay for my food like everybody else. I don't take anything from these restaurants. No matter how much business comes from any post I make, I don't take any money. If I was to go to school and get all of the qualifications and start talking in big words that not a lot of people understand, would they still come out and wait in 4-hour lines? I don't believe so. I'm a normal person just like you. So again, you are completely entitled to your opinion, and so am I. And my opinion is that you should have done a lot more research before you made this firm stance, especially on a platform like yours. I don't go anywhere and just give my unsolicited opinion. You said I should only get positive reviews. The reason I don't believe that it worked because it'd be inauthentic. And hypothetically, if I was to be inauthentic and you waited in a 3-hour wait time and you got to the front and the food was trash, who you gonna be mad at? The restaurant owner or me? Those 600 people who waited in line, they're gonna all make videos and say I'm a fraud. Say I lied. And that 4-hour line only gonna be there at one time because everybody gonna say the food is trash. Simply just to spite me, not even a restaurant themselves. But if it's a restaurant where the people really put their time and their effort into, that 4-hour wait time is gonna be 4 hours the next day, and the next day, and the next day. God willingly, of course. Again, I'm gonna be very clear. I think you are completely entitled to your opinion, just like I am. 99% of my videos have ended very positively.
Charge my card for $26.73. That's what she said she made when sales today. Instead of crying, you need to rejoice.
Their total sales was $2,200 for the day.
I appreciate it.
Y'all, look at the impact of Keithley. Look at these cars lined up. Y'all, this area is always in...
Ooh, you got these people attention now? Mm-hmm. Talk that talk, George.
So to make the narrative that all I do is tear down businesses is completely false. This is my last time speaking on anything that has to do with Atlanta. I want to get back to the fun, get back to eating, get back to touring, get back to going to good restaurants. I just want to eat food and mind my business like I always have.
In this last week, I've heard a lot of questions like, why him? A bunch of people eat food. Why is him and his family so successful? Why do y'all pay attention to what him and his family say? And to that, I simply ask, why not? God bless you.
God bless you. Have an amazing day. Y'all be safe.
And all I can say to that is, why is it us that always got to act a fool? He gives critique to all these different restaurants, and he flamed Ochocinco on this. He said about everything he could say. But it's just like, you see the attitude that Ochocinco got, and not only that, all of Atlanta got. It's mostly black restaurants that he was reviewing because it's like the Black Hollywood. But this man was getting death threats to him and his family because of reviews that he was giving and all of this type of stuff. Black folk, why do we have to be this extra because somebody gives their honest opinion that most of you called him and asked to come and give? But then when he does that, get all out of pocket and people start delivering death threats and this, that, he don't even want nothing to do with Atlanta no more. He want to go somewhere else and start having fun again, because only when he come to a black saturated city, we got the clown. And I say that to Chad Ochocinco too. It's like, come on, man. He doing what he do. He giving an honest opinion on the food. And you got to be, oh, why not? You ain't got to give. Listen, I understand that. Like, I understand wanting to help our businesses more than harm them and give them positive feedback. But somebody still got to walk around to that kitchen before they leave the restaurant and be like, hey, man, I ain't going to blow y'all up on Instagram, but that dressing was salty and the turkey legs was dry and this, that, and other. Because if somebody don't say it, then how does the restaurant get better? And that's what we should be about as black businesses, as black folk. You got to tell people the truth. I mean, would you let your friend walk around with a big booger in their nose all day? Or would you like pull them aside like, hey, man, get the booger out your nose? Like, so somebody got to mean well for our restaurants. You know what I'm saying? But this is your boy P. Cam. Let me know what you think, what you don't think. Get at your boy.